Disclaimer. This TikTok Live is intended for thoughtful discussion and debate on complex and sensitive topics. It is not meant to promote, glamorize, or trivialize any harmful behaviors or ideas. All views are shared with the purpose of fostering understanding, education, and open dialogue. Viewer discretion is advised, and we encourage respectful and mature engagement in the comments.
It's only reacts, breaking it down. No left, no right, just truth all around. It's not about parties, no red, no blue. She's calling it out, bringing facts to you. So tune in and see, no filter, just facts. Right here, right now, it's only reacts. It's only reacts.
What's poppin', y'all? I have not been on my YouTube in a very, very, very long time. So it actually feels good to be back. I just wanted to hop on and do a quick live. I'm not going to be up here long. What up? We got Cash in the building. Shella Rubio in the building. What's up? Today has been a very trying day. And if you are a content creator or you're somebody who pays attention to politics, it's probably been a trying day for you as well. The Epstein files were released. Trump put out this cringe video a few days ago. Elon Musk has got baby mama issues. If you can't tell, I'm going down a list of things that I've just had stored away in my brain for this live. All right. It's been kind of scary out here. Y'all don't think? I don't think I recognize like the further along we get into the 2000s, the more I just don't recognize this country or the people or even thought patterns. I'm having a very hard time understanding how people can have a view and then abandon the view and then have the view and then abandon it and pick it up and put it down. You know, like, I don't know. So I kind of just have been in my little corner on TikTok, minding my business, hosting discussions. I've been doing a lot more debating, but today I just kind of wanted to get in my bag and talk about some stuff that I realized. That's why the name of the show is, I was trying to be funny, but it feels like reality show politics. Anybody with me? It feels like reality show politics. This country feels like one big reality show, right? Where there's a bunch of high stakes, but the quality of leadership is just less than prime time. But y'all like that?
Oh my God.
I was trying to channel my inner Cash. Yo, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it. So I'm not going to rant in your ears any longer. I'm just going to hop into exactly what I found issue with. And I'm just wondering where everybody else is. Shout out to Huey Media. If you guys don't follow him, go follow him. He is the best person for like objective news right there on the spot instantly. I'm going to have him on here to chop it up with us about politics, but we tend to share a lot of the time the same brain on these topics. And I'm like, yo, if he's thinking it, I know so many other people got to be thinking it. I can't just be by myself on this island and ain't nobody thinking. So I was chilling. I didn't take this whole Epstein list serious, you know, because it feels like here we go again, another big reveal that means like really nothing because they aren't going to do anything. We're going to have a bunch of meetings or hear, oh shoot, got Bryson in the background. But you're just going to hear a bunch of testimony. And usually that testimony comes with little to no action. Like you really don't even know what's going on or if anything is going to happen with these things because of how little Congress does in these moments, right? And you can't be mad at me. You can't be mad at the American citizens that are having these thoughts. There's a lot of people who are losing confidence very quickly in this administration. I've been looking at Trump's picks like, what are we doing, brother? We're going to get into this video, but this whole Epstein list dropped, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. We're going to have a bunch of distractions going on. We're going to have a bunch of people coming out with this theory, that theory. But then, as I was already looking at this stuff on X, I seen Huey, like I said before. I'm like, oh, he done posted it. So he says, why are influencers getting briefed on alleged Epstein files before everyone else? Why the need for phases? Candace Owens always also said this. Instead of dropping everything we know at once. Also, what a surprise that every influencer in this picture is either Jewish or publicly supports Israel. More theater. I'm sorry, my daughter came in real quick. All right, thank you. I personally, I agree with his sentiments. Now, I don't really care that they're Jew, right? That's another conversation for another day. But what I do care about is that they're making a photo op out of this. This doesn't seem like we're dealing with some people that are really interested in holding other people accountable for doing disgusting, atrocious things against children and young ladies, teenagers, and whatever other age group that they decide that they want to act like predators towards. Right? It just seems like a big freaking photo op. And I thought for sure I cannot be the only one that is sitting here having these thoughts. It just, America, you know when Trump came back and everybody was like, America's so back, baby. Oh yeah, back to business. I took that to heart. Okay. I'm like, you know what? America's back to business. Okay. I can get on that train. But then we having conversations like this. A month into the game, a month and 7 days into the game, y'all taking photo ops outside the White House showing the phase 1. Has anybody even seen phase 1? Because all the files that I opened up, and we got a whole bunch of stuff going on in the FAFO chat on Instagram. I love you guys. But everything that I clicked was completely freaking redacted. And apparently, everything that these so-called influencers got was redacted. Now, I'm going to let DC Drano speak for himself. I particularly don't care for his content. It feels like a lot of fear porn and a lot of just clickbaity shit. But listen.
And Bondi has sent a letter demanding that it be sent to her tomorrow by 8 a.m. At that point, I imagine they will review the information, go through it, redact any personal identifying information and identities of victims, and continue to release this information in accordance with Trump's executive order.
We're going to turn this down while he's just flipping. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Right? Does it seem like there is this like seriousness to solve this big, it's not even a conundrum. We already have our suspicions on exactly what this dude represents. And I'm talking about Epstein. I'm not even going to get into it on this show. I need to find a way to be more strategic with my words, but there's already some funny business going on behind that. All right. A lot of people call this situation a honeypot, and we'll leave it there. Do y'all really think these establishment politicians are going to come in and solve this massive conundrum? That's not so much a conundrum. Be real with me now. Come on, we can reason here together. It's just Sunni. You ain't got to impress nobody. You could be real with me. Because I, for one, I'm not convinced. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. A few days later, somebody could come in and shock me and wow me. But for right now, where we at, I'm just not that hopeful. I think they're going to make arrests. Okay, so Cash says they're going to make arrests. Hold on one second, y'all. Sorry, I'm back. You think they're going to make some arrests? We shall see. Hold on. I got a phone call. 1 second. Sorry, guys. Listen, I'm still a mom behind all of this. I will be right back. Please don't go anywhere. Bear with me. All right. Can you guys hear me? Sorry that took me so long. Whew. It's difficult to do a show by yourself when you don't have a co-host. I got to put this stuff on ice for a second. All right, back to what I was saying. I was pretty much just talking about how I personally don't believe that there's going to be any arrest or remedies to a lot of what we talk about because it's been years. They've been talking about this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing for years. How much more information do you need? Like, what other investigations are going on? Are you, like, realistically, are they really investigating Bill Clinton? Realistically, like, let's be real. Are they really looking into Bill Clinton? Are they really looking into all the people that they say they're looking into? I'm just saying, we all got common sense. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I listened to Chad Prather and he said this is just the first phase. Yeah, but Chad Prather, to me, the people that we are watching disseminate this information, they benefit off of keeping you on this, like, it's like dangling something shiny in front of or dangling a piece of candy in front of a kid and being like, you want it? You want it? And then you just run all around the room and make it impossible for them to ever really attain it. That's how I think of this whole thing. I don't think it's going to produce any results. And like I said, I'm open to being wrong. I could be totally wrong about this. I could be being super pessimistic and less optimistic, and a bunch of facts can come out and smack me in the face. Who knows? All I know is that I think it is quite funny that what was given in the first phase was literally all redacted. I just showed a video. It's all redacted. What is one to do with this? What honestly though, what should a person be thinking? This made me laugh. I was like, bro, I quit. I'm tapping out. I don't even want to do this no more. I don't want to watch it. I don't care to see what happens with it. Because look, all this information can come out and still people aren't going to be held accountable. But hopefully I'm wrong and I'm just being pessimistic about it all. And there are some things that actually come out and some things that are forthcoming. But the rollout of this, like the PR stunt, this, that, and the third, that whole thing was kind of strange. I ain't even gonna hold you. I thought it was weird. Now I want to hop into the next subject, which is Trump and his cringe freaking video. I don't know how many people saw that cringy freaking video of Trump Gaza or Gaza Trump, whatever he was calling it. Trump put out a AI generated video talking about or showcasing the future of what Gaza could look like if they take it over and rebuild it. Now, I personally don't see how anybody can think that this is in good taste. I personally don't see how anyone, like a lot of people told me that I was being judgmental or that I wasn't exactly finding the humor that Trump was finding. I just couldn't find the humor. I'm sorry. I tried and I couldn't. Now maybe you can. Maybe some of you will find this funny, but this is what Donald Trump posted, and this is what sent me over the edge.
Donald's coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1.
Now, my husband just got home. Now, Somebody could call that trolling. I don't think it's trolling. You want to know why? Because somebody watches. Number one, it's riddled with like fake AI generated videos of Elon Musk everywhere throwing money up. And of course, I'll play it in the background so people can watch while I'm talking. But there's money falling out of the sky. Trump is sitting next to Bibi Netanyahu on the beach. You know, there's gold statues, there's gold balloons. And then to add insult to injury, you got, you know, I can't say it because if I say it, I get censored. But you know, we can all see what I just seen right now. You can see what's in my background. Somebody had to pre-watch this. Like you had to watch this before you posted it, and you thought, I'm going to post this. Number one, it's extremely insensitive. You are making light of a situation that has been happening for over a year where people have been displaced, they've lost their lives, they've lost their limbs, and there is a new normal for them. I don't think holding the average Palestinian responsible for what Hamas did is fair. That is like blaming one of us as American citizens for what Joe Biden did. And then you somehow move these people from out of their neighborhoods, right? And then you blame, well, you voted for Biden. So this is why, you know, we're justified in doing what we're doing, as if there's not an entire faction of people that are like, hey, no, we don't like the H words. No, I guess you could say Hamas on here. The logic behind this is just it's silly and it's insensitive, and what a disgusting thing for the sitting United States president to do. Just being honest, I don't think that this was a good look for Trump at all. I think he should go back to the drawing board and try again. And whoever generated this should be fired immediately because that was ridiculous. And I'm going to get into why I think it's ridiculous and the tone that I think it's setting in this country. There were 2 incidents that have happened, one in Florida and I think another in Israel, right? Thank you for showing up, Sheila, so much. I appreciate you. But there are 2 different incidences that happen, and it's gotten a fraction of what you would see if, let's just say, the person was just so happened to be Jewish and the assailant just so happened to be Palestinian. It would be all over the news. It would be sensationalized. But this country just seems so comfortable with being very just heinous in their views, in their critiques of other countries. It's like you don't think you can hold America accountable for the gross things that it does, right? Because of the American government and what they use our military for. If you've looked into all these things, you're well aware. If you're my age, I'm 34 and above, you understood the whole 20-year war for nothing. Okay, we got to experience that. We got to live through 9/11. That was probably the most traumatic day that I've had in my life at that young of an age, to watch something like that happen on American soil. And then you had the ushering in of the Patriot Act, and then so on and so forth. I just don't see how people can turn the blind eye to that and pretend like none of those things matter. It does. This is a gross thing. So you guys can tell me if you heard of this, but I thought that this was rather disgusting. And I thought that it was even more disgusting that this happened in the state of Florida. And Ron DeSantis is too busy trying to deport the Tate brothers for whatever is going on with that situation. I saw that popping off over on X as well. But a Jewish man mistakes 2 Israeli tourists for Palestinians and opens fire on them in Miami. I'll say that again. Oops, hold on. My doorbell rang. 1 second. The perks of being a mom and trying to be a podcaster at the same time. It's kind of dope. I think I'm doing a great job at it. Sorry for the sporadic breaks and me being winded. But this whole thing happened in Florida and it got little to no news. So a Jewish man in Miami Beach is facing charges for attempted murder following accusations that he opened fire on two men he believed were Palestinians, but reportedly turned out to be Israeli visitors. According to the arrest document, I just ran all over the place.
Oh my God.
Okay. According to the arrest documents, at 9:30 p.m. on Saturday, surveillance video appeared to show Mordecai Braffman getting out of his truck and opening fire with a semi-automatic handgun at a vehicle as it passed. Barfram allegedly fired 17 times, striking one victim in the left shoulder and grazing the other's left forearm. While in custody, Braffman spontaneously told detectives while he was driving his truck, he saw two Palestinians and shot and killed them both. Did you just hear what I read? Did you hear what I just read? This man told police officers that he saw two Palestinians and decided to shoot and kill them both. Now you're going to ask me, well, how does this tie into what Trump did? It facilitates and almost confirms the cold and callousness that American citizens, half of this country, has shown towards these people. When people feel comfortable to do this in broad daylight in the US, to purposefully target someone because of their ethnicity, that is crazy work. And for this country to be all about, well, we don't target people based on race and we don't believe that, and especially this side, for this side to be all about that, but then this is not major news. This is happening in Florida. DeSantis, you haven't even spoke on this. I haven't seen any politician speak on this. Have you? How many people even heard about this story? I'm going to keep reading because it gets worse. Law enforcement did not confirm if the victims were in fact Palestinian. The Miami Herald reported that they were actually two vacationing Israelis, naming them as Ari and his father. They don't give the father's name. Facebook post after the shooting showed Rabbi at Miami Jackson Memorial Hospital and his Hyundai with several bullet hole markings. The outlet reported as of Monday afternoon, Barfman, the alleged shooter, was being held at Miami-Dade Correctional Center on 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. Further complicating the incident, one injured man reportedly posted "death to Arabs" in a message on social media after the shooting. My father and I went through a murder attempt against anti-Semitic background, he wrote. Now I'm going to pull this up so you guys can see it. Like, do you see this? Do you see what you're creating in this country? You're galvanizing a bunch of people to try to participate in stupid games and win stupid prizes. And this is the fallout of it. Mordecai Braffman, 28, is a pro. They're calling him. Now, listen, this is probably somebody on the opposite side of the political spectrum that's going to sensationalize this. But the fact that you posted "death to Arabs" on your page right before you got blamed for somebody thinking that you were Arab, that's kind of serendipitous. Come on now. Y'all got to agree with me. That's kind of like some what goes up must come down type of stuff. You're wishing death on a group and then you get grazed and your dad gets hit in the shoulder. And then we got Trump posting things like this when those people over there are experiencing a real tragedy. And it gets even worse. This happened on the 21st of February, which took place in Jerusalem City. I'm going to show you this. Hopefully you guys can see it. Let me check. All right, we can see it. Jewish man attacks Israeli woman with an axe after mistaking her for a Christian.
Oh my God.
How can you tell if someone's Christian? You got people attacking people in the U.S. because they think they're Palestinian. And then you got people attacking people in Israel because they think they're Christian. And then we have our president that thinks it's funny to post an AI-generated video in which shows men with beards and bikinis and children grabbing for falling money when that place looks like a graveyard. And in fact, it is. I guarantee the numbers that they've put out of the casualties, both injured and dead, is probably astronomical. In fact, there's a study out that says that the number is actually 40% more than what they're already reporting. But you can't say that without somebody labeling you pro-Hamas and anti-Semitic. What a sad time to be a part of this country where people are getting attacked for being Palestinian and nobody cares. Let me not say nobody, because clearly I care. Clearly I am sitting here taking time to talk about it, and hopefully more people will share these stories and maybe go look into some of these things themselves. But this happened in Jerusalem City. An Israeli man attacked an Israeli woman with an axe in Jerusalem on Wednesday, mistakenly believing she was a Christian. According to the media reports, police suspect that the attack, which took place in Jerusalem's Old City, was motivated by hatred of Christians. Eyewitnesses told the channel that the suspect shouted "Christian" at the victim before violently attacking her inside of her home, leaving her with severe injuries. Now, the reason I'm bringing this story up is because there has been a story circulating that has not been substantiated, but it's being cycled around all over social media, all by a lot of mainstream pundit talking heads. Yes. Here we go. I'm pulling this up. I'm sorry. Boom. Oh, come on. I want to show it on Fox News. Oh, come on. How do you even allow ads? Do you guys even know how to do that? I don't. All right. We're not going to be able to look at Fox News. That's unfortunate. That would be the perfect place to start. Well, as you can see on the headline, this is 5 days ago. All right. 70 Christians reportedly beheaded by ISIS affiliate and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, this story hasn't been substantiated. Okay. There's no proof that this ever happened. Nick Fuentes did a whole breakdown on it. I'm going to play that. There's no proof that this ever happened. Yet mainstream media is reporting on it. But you hear nothing about the man in Florida that thought he was going to be unaliving Palestinians. But we know for sure that this attack happened and it was at the hands of an ISIS affiliate in the Congo. Really? And people are eating this up. This is even on stops, whatever you call it, whatever people call it these days. I haven't even pulled this up in a in a minute. And they put sources in here to say that this hasn't been, it hasn't even been verified. What? Fox News. Ooh, it says they archived it. Let's see if we can pull it up. Here's the actual Twitter post that everybody got this from. But it says 70 Christians, including children and elderly, were brutally beheaded inside of a church by an Islamic group in the Congo. Christians are the most persecuted group worldwide, but the media won't report such events. Yeah, kind of like the media didn't report this event of a woman being attacked by another Israeli man or Jewish man because he mistaked her for a Christian. Or you won't hear about the fact that 2 tourists visiting Miami were shot at driving past because somebody thought they were Palestinian. Is anybody else just like, what the fuck? Anybody else? I'm gonna play Nick Fuentes. If nobody's gonna give Nick Fuentes his flowers, I'm gonna do it here today because this guy's been on point. There's a lot of things he says that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things he says that I'm like, you know what? You've gone way too far, Nick. But there's a lot of stuff that he's been on point about, and he's been 100% on point. We'll say 95% on point when it comes to the Israeli influence in the United States of America, and American citizens should absolutely be concerned with Trump, who Trump put in his cabinet, and their ties to that country. They should, because I don't believe we're seeing a web of lies pop up and all of us are starting to fan through it and get stuck. I don't think that happened by chance, but I'm going to play this clip and I also have somebody else that I'm going to bring up. I want to hear his perspective because we have a lot of people who are very vocal for the conservative movement, for the Trump 2024 movement, Black Voices for Trump, that are just slowly getting to the point where we are no longer willing to lend our voices because it's getting weird. It's getting scary out here. Check this out.
But if you look into, in particular, what is happening in Uganda, it goes back a long way with the state of Israel. Do you know that Israel backed 3 successive regimes in Uganda? They backed Uganda's president in the 60s because that president was funneling money to a Sudanese rebel group and distracting the Sudanese government from supporting Palestine. When that Ugandan president stopped supporting the South Sudanese rebels, Israel overthrew him and replaced him with Idi Amin. When Idi Amin denounced Zionism, expelled his Israeli military advisors, and let skyjacking Muslims land a plane full of Jewish hostages in Uganda, Israel backed a coup against him and replaced him with Uganda's current president, who is friends with Israeli super spies and Netanyahu, who made a visit to Uganda in 2020. And this is all part of the legacy of Britain's imperial government in Uganda, because the British Empire was controlled by the Jewish Rothschilds, who controlled the mining in Central and Southern Africa, the mining of diamonds, the mining of other valuable resources. And so you might ask yourself, why all of a sudden are James Lindsay and all these other influencers talking about Congo all of a sudden? It's because the Jewish billionaires who have been extracting and who have been exploiting Africa's resources, formerly in the British Empire, and then over the past 100 years or 70 years since then, it is because they are attempting to once again reclaim control over the mineral rights, over the mining operation, so that Israel can start importing diamonds again for the diamond trade, so that the United States can have the cobalt, so they can make the batteries to diminish the leverage of petrostates like the Muslim Arab countries that are adversaries with Israel. That is why.
Did y'all hear what he just said? I don't even think they took that in. What's up, Julius?
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. I don't even think y'all took that in. Bro, I'm sick of this country. I'm sick of this country. I'm sick of the influence that this country has. And I'm sick of the people that sit back and pretend like we're just making it up. Like all of us are just anti-Semitic. You've been called anti-Semitic, I'm sure, because we both kind of covered October 7th together and the whole revealing of that thing. So I definitely want to get your perspective on all this. We kind of talked earlier, and I told you I was going to be live discussing
Yeah.
these things because me personally, I think a lot of people might feel a little crazy, which is why they don't speak out, or they feel like, you know what, I'm going to be hopping on this weird train of juice burging, but that's not what people like me, people like Julius, people like Anomaly, people like Nick Fuentes, I don't think that that's what we're doing. I think that this is justified, a justified internal critique of this country and what it's allowed and what politicians have allowed for so long. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let you go, but people need to hear this.
Yeah, I agree. One of the biggest problems I think we have when it comes to the conservative right wing movement is that a lot of people are already complacent with the influencer that they watch. The Dan Bonginos, the Benny Johnsons, the DC Dranos, the Charlie Kirks of the world. They watch these influencers and they have their narratives, they have their talking points, and so they're used to that, especially when you see Charlie Kirk going to colleges and he's debating like these 19, 20-year-olds, right? So they're used to that. But when somebody like you said, Nick Fuentes, Anomaly, yourself, myself, we come along and we break that bubble, then it looks like we're pointing the finger at a certain group of peoples, because a lot of these conservatives who are Christians, who identify as Christians, their mind frame is, well, Israel is God's chosen people. So why are you saying something bad about God's chosen people? Like you're going against God. And that's not the case. What we're simply saying is that when you follow the money, so to speak, it always leads back to these certain people that have a certain practice, and people cannot handle that because no one in the conservative movement is talking about it, because their pockets are being lined by the same donors. So that's why they don't say. That's why you see like APAC fund a lot of these politicians, these congressmen, etc. They're getting money from these people. So now you have these what they call shills, where they'll say anything to keep their pockets lined. So when somebody like you and I comes along and we break that bubble, then they have to immediately, do what do you call it? Um, Forget the word I'm looking for, but they have to come out essentially and kind of defend, you know, Israel, the right wing. That's why you have people like James Lindsay who say the woke right, and what that does is it's just uh it diminishes the conversation that we're trying to put forward. It's like on the surface, the conservatives are saying, "Hey, Christians are being, uh, you know, um, I don't know a word you can use on
You can say it. It's
YouTube."
so, we're fine. We're not on TikTok. I
Okay,
found myself
so
doing the same thing.
yeah, so they're basically being killed in Congo, and so on the surface, they're saying, "Oh, this has ties to like Muslims and things like that."
Mm-hmm.
People like Tulsi Gabbard, who says things like the most dangerous thing in America is, radical Islamists. But when you look at what Israel does and the things that they have done,
Mm-hmm.
the people on the right, like the James Lindsays of the world, will deny that and say, "No, you're wrong." It's like, well, wait a minute. Israel is not the saint that you think it is. Now,
Yep.
the country itself, right? The land may be biblical, but the people in it are not. How can a land be biblical when the people are having pride parades every month, every year, right?
Yeah.
How is it biblical when they allow the killing of the unborn baby? How is it biblical when they allow gay men to use women for a surrogate? It's not
Yeah.
biblical. So we have to look at these things and be objective about it, because again, these people are so used to the damn Bonginos of the world that they're not actually doing actual research and digging. They're just listening to the talking points. That's why when you see some of these leftists who go out and do these edited content, but they still show people who, like these MAGA people who just repeat talking points, they get those people because they're like, look at how dumb they are. But have
Yeah.
a conversation with somebody like you or me or Nick or Anomaly, the whole thing changes.
Yeah.
And we might end up agreeing on a lot. and they don't want
Right.
to see that. So
That's one of the main reasons I do go live so much on TikTok, because you do have the ability to access literally anybody and have a conversation with them. Sometimes, and this is my first time saying this publicly. Sometimes I think I have a bit of remorse as a Christian about voting for Trump. I think I let the assassination attempt really control my emotions on that, because a lot of I know Tyson James. As soon as I saw Tyson James posted, I'm like, all right, I'm not crazy. Because he posted back when that whole thing happened, he's like, I don't know, Trump might have my vote back, right? Because it's like, y'all want to take this dude out so bad. Like, what is he capable of doing? What is he going to do that you feel like you need to eliminate him, right?
yeah,
And then I watch his moves in office, and I'm like, it kind of goes in line with that piece that I wrote that I shared with you. Bro, it's just two masters trying to have some sort of control over you, and they do it by constantly keeping social issues in front of you that you think they're going to fix, but really their intention is not to fix it. Booker T. Washington's got a quote. Now he centered this around Black people, but I think that this can be scaled to the American population. That he said there's a certain class, I'm going to switch the words, but there's a certain class of American citizens that don't want the average American to lose its grievances, partially because they want sympathy. And like, you can see this with politicians. They're like, listen, the Democrats, man, the liberals, man, they're doing this, that, and the third. We're having a hard time here. We just want to fight for the American people, right? And on the opposite side, you have the same thing. So it's like we're watching these people that want to keep our grievances in front of us, partially because they want sympathy, and the other half is because it's lucrative. How do politicians go in making what, $80,000 a year, and you come out worth $7 million? Like, how is Barack Obama insanely rich living in Martha's Vineyard because he was the president? Like, what are we doing as Americans at this point? I don't even forget going after the politicians. I'm going after American citizens now, because what the fuck are you doing? I can't, bro. We should have, the fact that I got 15 people here is crazy work. Where is the appetite for truth, bro? That used to exist in 2016, 2015, 2017 and beyond. Bro, people were on it. The research was on point. The waiting for the details was on point. The not hopping on ridiculous media narrative driven trends was on point. But then somehow the news is accurate again.
yeah.
I don't get it.
This is I don't know if this is correct, but it seemed as if, and I would agree with you, it seems as if that in 2016 and 2020 there was this appetite for the truth, because we saw the left-wing media constantly take things out of context, misrepresent Trump in all kind of ways. And we was like, no, this is actually the truth. Here's what's going on. This is what he did. And we were so about it. But it seems to me, and especially COVID, I think COVID really woke a lot of people up. And for some reason, it seemed like with October 7th, that really made people, something changed with that.
Yeah.
But now we just believe the news and we don't take time to do actual research, because now when we do the research, you're anti-Semitic.
Yep.
Oh, just say you love Hamas and that whole nature. When in reality, it's like a lot of, the few of us are still sticking to the principles of actually waiting for information, taking the time to actually research, not just one day headline, post it, and then react. We're taking a couple days, maybe even a week, to like really kind of get all the details so we can talk about it in the most proper way and respectful way. But for some strange reason, October 7th changed all that. It became about like before, when during Trump's first presidency, when you had the left who was like, Trump wants to ban brown people. Now it's the right. Now it's the right that wants to ban brown people.
Yep.
So they turned like they went from Trump's not trying to do a Muslim ban to now they want to do a Muslim ban. So because of what happened on October 7th. So it's just interesting to me how the tides have changed because of that. So I still think there's a good amount of people out there that are still telling the truth,
Yeah.
but I think even they themselves don't want to be caught on the Juiceberg train
Mm-hmm.
and want to just kind of look at other angles, which I think we should do, look at other angles because it all connects. But unfortunately, it always leads back to a certain group of people. And so it's like you can like pull yourself away as far as possible, but you're always gonna just bounce right back because
Right.
that's why if you look into things like feminism, the education, I mean, I'll just name just these three things. Feminism, right? You look at who kind of pushed it, who pushed certain movements like abortion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a certain group of people.
Yeah.
You look at integration, Brown versus board education. Look at the people who were involved in that, who co-founded the NAACP. Just happens to be a
Certain
certain
group
group
of
of
people.
people. So, and then you know what I mean? So, there's just a bunch of things. Interracial marriage, Levy versus Virginia. Who was the two lawyers on that? Just
Yep.
happens to be a certain group of people.
Certain
So
group of
it
people.
just goes on and on and on. And once you understand that, now you have to understand like why are they pushing this degeneracy? Well, I mean, ask yourself, why were they kicked out of 109 countries?
That part.
Well,
That part. You know what you hear when you say that? This is what happens to people's brains. It's like the screen of death. They don't know what to do. Listen, they're trying to type a bunch of different things, and the screen of us is up there like, no, can you just answer this question? Why? They can't just be the perpetual victim in every single scenario. And we should be allowed to talk about this. There shouldn't be 30, there's 39 states right now in this country that you all live in with anti-Semitic laws on the books that tell you what you can and cannot talk about when it comes to this certain group of people. Okay. And I just want to show you guys all these influencers that put this so-called Epstein file out, because now allegedly a certain group of people is tied to that whole thing too. I need to go and do a deep dive into that because I haven't looked into it. But look, DC Drano and Chad Prather posted the exact same damn thing. Who paid y'all? Y'all got paid to post this. We all know, bro, we are too tied in to the conservative movement and the people that actually have the voices up top. It's 6 degrees of separation over here. I'm 6 degrees from I know someone who knows Kanye West, bro. I know someone who sat in a room with President Trump, somebody who's had a conversation with Trump. We're hearing and seeing about what happens. Y'all got paid to do this. It failed. I think they hurried up and put that link out because that they saw the American people wasn't going for that. What you mean you're giving it to these influencers? I want to look at it. They put it out. The link failed multiple times because there were too many people trying to download it. To me, I don't think that this was real at all. For this to be found, both of y'all are posting the same freaking thing. Come on, man.
What I've heard on 2X Spaces, Liz Wheeler and Emily Austin, what they said was that they were actually there for a meeting and they had no idea that they was going to be given this information. It was like a surprise to them. That's what they're claiming. So could be the case, but once they got the information, they come out and do a photo op. You see the chick from Libs of TikTok. She's like smiling, having a good time. It reminds me of that photo of the celebrities who are all taking the selfie, like Ellen DeGeneres and all of them. Just like that. And we're all like, yeah, they're all smiling, but we know who you really are. It's the same thing with the influencers. You guys are all like American, we the people, but it's like, and you're going through the binders as if it's something, come to find out it's a smoking gun.
It's all redacted. And then Pam Bondi comes out with this. I didn't get to show you guys this. Hold on. Pam Bondi comes out with this excuse for why it was like this, which I don't believe at all. And I think anybody who does fall for this, I'm gonna need you to just go reassess a few things, man. I am. I want you to go look into these people. I'm going to give praise to one particular person because I think he deserves it. That was a really dope thing that he was able to achieve, and it's nice to have somebody in office that wants to do their job. I'm talking about Pete Hegseth. Can you see this on my screen? The letter?
Yeah, I can see it. I actually did read that, but yeah, before the audience, yeah.
This is interesting. Before you came into my office, I requested a full and complete files. I requested the full and complete files related to Jeffrey Epstein. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents, which consisted primarily of flight logs, the Epstein list of contacts, and a list of victims and names and phone numbers. I repeatedly questioned whether this was a full set of documents responsive to my request, and was repeatedly assured by the FBI that we had received a full set of documents. Late yesterday, I learned from a source that the FBI field office in New York was in possession of thousands of pages of documents related to the investigation and the indictment of Epstein. Despite my repeated requests, the FBI never disclosed the existence of these files. When you and I spoke yesterday, you were just as surprised as I was to learn this information. Now, I'm going to stop right there because I got a question for y'all. To me, this seems like let's get a letter ready and blame someone else for why this happened the way it did. Why didn't y'all read before you gave it to these influencers? Why didn't you know that all this shit was redacted?
Yeah.
Your team didn't look through it. Y'all just somehow packaged it up, gave it to them, and then all of a sudden found out that you didn't have the right stuff. Like, really? Oh, it's you and I talked, Cash Patel, and we both were surprised. This dude is a director of freaking FBI. And then you got Dan Bongino over there. Why don't we have more information? I just don't buy this letter. To me, it feels like we're going to try to clean up this mess we made. And then she says,
there's a word there's a word I'm trying to think about. They're running not cover up, but it's like something else I'm trying to think about. Like they're running
like damage control.
Yes, there it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing because it was this PR stunt that they tried to pull. America's not here for it, bro. You got way too many people with platforms and voices now on TikTok, on X, that could come out and have millions of people questioning some shit that you just put out. Period. So I think that this failed.
This is why too, like you have a lot more people who are waking up to, the Israel influence in America. This is why when you have people like the James Lindsays of the world who are constantly coming out doing damage control, it just goes to show you, like, how do you not see this, that they're running damage control because of what we're saying? That should tell you that there is influence and people don't want you to influence people.
Yes.
So I just don't know how that totally like blows. But again, it's because these people are paid. And the moment they agree with the Nick Fuentes, their career is over. It's like when JD Vance was talking about Ukraine and assimilation, excuse me, and basically talking about you come to this country, you gotta assimilate, blah blah blah. And he says it along the lines of Ukraine. But if he were to say that about Israel, it will be over for him. Totally over. So this is what I mean. It's like they can't just name the thing because they know it's over for them.
Man, she went on to say, by 8 a.m. tomorrow, February 28th, the FBI will deliver the full and complete Epstein files to my office, including all records, documents, audios, and video recordings, and materials related to Jeffrey Epstein and his client, regardless of how such information was obtained. There will be, this is grandstanding to me, there will be no withholdings or limitations to my or your access. The Department of Justice will ensure that any public disclosure of these files will be done in a manner to protect the privacy of the victims and in accordance with the law, as I have done my entire career as a prosecutor. I am also directing that you conduct an immediate investigation as to why my order to the FBI was not followed. So once again, it's been how many weeks since she's taken over? 2 3 weeks now? About 2 weeks?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
All right. So, you got in there and you didn't make sure this was done right? I'm just saying, we're talking about the attorney general at the federal level talking to the FBI saying, I need these files and I need you to get them to me here. And they say, yeah, let's send over a bunch of redacted files. And your strategy is to write a stern letter to say what you will do. That's your strategy? Guess what I say to that? This is what I say to that. Repeal the fucking 19th. Are you going to take that letter serious? Straight up, Julius. If you're the FBI and you got some stuff to hide, not even some stuff to hide, but you're covering your own self. Are you listening to a letter like that?
Yeah, I don't see how that letter helps. I mean, but also what I find interesting too is that Cash Patel, is that his name? He made a promise and said, and you can find this on YouTube. It's coming from his own mouth. He said, as soon as if I get sworn in, that he would bring the complete files of the Epstein files. He made a promise to that, and it seems like again nothing's being done. We're getting things that's why when they first announced it, I was like, don't we already have the flight logs? And if we already have the flight logs, because it was some article that came out by NBC years ago, and we already had information about who was on the flight logs and things like that. You had one of the Krasstein brothers who was like, Trump's on the flight log, but we already knew that. So a lot of this information is not anything new. It's not going to indict nobody. It's nothing like that. Yeah. So I don't. To me, again, this letter is damage control, and the fact that they say, "Oh, tomorrow I want it," right? Tomorrow 8 a.m. I want it,
right?
But then tomorrow 8 a.m. comes, nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna happen. That's. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can't hear myself. That's so weird. I can't hear myself. But anyways.
Oh.
I just wish that there was more of an urgency coming from not just the American people, but this administration. Like, to me, the urgency was shown with DEI. That was like immediate. Get in. You're not going to be doing this anymore. We're doing a government overhaul. We're going to freeze funds here. It seemed like there was some urgency there, but when it comes to these, do you call it like pop culture topics? Like, what are these topics? Honestly, well, we're in a hamster wheel about Jeffrey Epstein. Is that like pop culture mixing with politics?
Yeah, I would have to give a little bit of pushback when you mentioned the freezing of the fundings, because even that wasn't 100% complete, because apparently both Ukraine and Israel, especially Israel, were exempt from funding being froze due to like government treaties and whatnot. So it's like we froze federal funding, but the biggest complaint we had really was mostly Ukraine, but also some of us were saying Israel too, but they were exempt from having their funds frozen. So our tax dollars are still going to Israel. So the weapons that they use is our money to go finish off Gaza, so Trump can make AI videos and show how he's gonna rebuild it in his image, like he's God or something. So it's yeah. I mean, we mentioned pop culture references. Yeah, I mean, we've been on this Jeffrey Epstein since like the first time Trump was president, and nothing really happened with that either. So, like I said, it's all just smoke, and I don't know what the distraction is from. I apologize if I don't have that theoretical, or that theory, I should say. But I think it's a distraction. I just don't know from what.
Hear me?
Now I can hear you. For a second, I can hear you.
That is so weird. I don't know what happened. No, I agree with what you're saying. Um, when I'm saying like it immediately coming in and immediately doing something, although he didn't stop the foreign spending to those two countries, he did come in and immediately do something. Like it wasn't 4 weeks, it wasn't 5 weeks, and then we saw something. He said, "Nope, executive orders." He sat down at his second inauguration in front of thousands of people in that stadium and signed executive order after executive order. Right? He came in and immediately done something. So I had that same expectation set for his cabinet. You're gonna immediately come in and you're gonna do something, and I can say that that's clearly something that could be done because Pete Hegseth did it immediately. Pete Hegseth and the people at the DoD issued a mandate. There's a memorandum that's going around. I'll pull it up so you guys can see it. That is barring transgenders from entering the military. So if you could come in and say, with the stroke of a pen, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing, here's a memorandum, this is effective immediately, there's nothing that trumps this document, this is what you're doing. And it falls into place. What's stopping this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, unless you're never really going to give them information because you can't legally do so due to the legal proceedings that are still happening? Or else, why didn't we have all this when Maxwell was on? Is she still on trial?
Hmm.
Or was she
I
found
haven't,
guilty?
yeah, I haven't even kept up with that. I totally forgot about her.
Let me pull that up.
But the easy dunk though does seem like they like it's quote unquote easy to go after the LGBT. I don't know. Like it's just like it's always the talking point with the right. It's like the LGBT, right?
Yeah.
But you
So she
start
was
digging a
sentenced
little.
to 20 years in prison. So
Mm-mm,
she was sentenced to 20 years in 2022. It's 2025. Y'all still ain't got the information? Like, why is all this stuff still redacted if she's in jail and she's been held accountable for all these things? What are you protecting? Put it out.
yeah,
Put it
I mean,
out and stop the strong letters. You're gonna do this. We need to see them do it. That don't work no more. You putting out that letter and us being like, "Ooh, look what Pam Bondi sent." No, no.
yeah. I was about to say something just now. It totally escaped my mind. I was about to say something. Yeah, it was
Well,
something to do with the Ghislaine Maxwell stuff.
oh, okay.
I because didn't we have transparency when it came to the MLK stuff?
Apparently, that was something old that was already out. I don't
Mm,
even know if they put out the actual MLK files. We haven't heard anything on JFK. I don't think they're going to put these files out without the redactions. They're not.
yeah,
I literally just showed y'all DC Drano flipping through page after page after page after page, and it's every single thing is redacted. When you look at all the other things, Pam Bondi came out and said, "Oh, it's a bunch of flight logs." Duh. We
yeah,
already seen the flight logs. We've already seen the list.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say was that the left side is so what the left does is they say, oh, they're taking their time because Trump's on the flight logs. But you mentioned something earlier that actually made sense. So it's like, yeah, people may be on the flight log, but you have to prove that they did something
Yes.
bad. So that's like, it's like I could be on an airplane and it happens to be in an airplane with Ted Bundy or something like that. It's like, oh, I was on the same airplane as Ted Bundy, but does that mean I did something wrong? You have to prove that I
Right.
associated myself with him. So a flight log is one thing, but you still have, I mean, even if it was like they all had an agenda to do something crazy,
Yeah.
you still have to prove it. So it's just screaming that it's like they're just trying to hide it because Trump was on the flight logs. Okay. Like, so what's that gonna do? Like, you have to
Right.
prove that Trump did something bad.
Yeah.
So that's what the left is saying. The right is like, we know who's involved. Y'all just don't want us to get on that answer because then both sides would agree, especially right now when you have the still energy of the pro-Palestine people,
Mm-hmm.
if it comes out that like Israel's involved in that, that brings the left to the right and say, hey, maybe we do have some common ground. I
Yep.
don't think they want Americans coming together like that. So
Nope. Not like that. Not like that. And I don't think it'll happen anyway because they'll keep people, like you just said, stuck on those stupid, intricate details that can easily be explained. Okay, well, yeah, he was on the flight. So what? What does that mean? And then
yeah,
it gets into when you start asking why. I saw this video, and and this guy said, hey, when you're debating, just stick to the Socratic method, which is asking questions. Just be very Socratic in your conversations with them. Okay, well, why do you think that? Oh, well, why did that happen? Well, what do you think Trump was doing there? And you know what they're forced to do? Submit a bunch of conjecture or give a cough up a source, which they don't have.
yeah,
They don't. And the same thing goes for the right. You start asking too many questions, they submit conjecture. Well, we must bless Israel because the Bible commands us to. What? I didn't ask you about the Bible. I'm asking you about what you think about this country and its practices. What? Well, we must bless Israel. It's like a blinder goes up and they submit a bunch of conjecture instead of actual thoughts,
yeah,
like just some evidence showing that your brain works.
yeah, yeah.
Something.
They're too like I said, they're too caught up in their favorite influencer and having to, Israel's our great. It's almost like the Israel is our greatest ally. It's like programming. Like
Yeah.
that's like the moment you say that, it's just everybody goes, Israel's our greatest ally, and like it can't be turned off. And if someone like me
Facts.
comes along and says, hey, I think Israel's doing some corrupt stuff. Uh, you hate Jews, don't you? And it's like, no, 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 no. I'm just telling you that they're involved in this. They're involved in. I mean, I can look. President Nixon even had a conversation with Billy Graham about this, and they both recognize who was the problem in America. But you can never get that to these
Yep.
people. And I think that interview, everybody should watch that President Nixon
Yep.
interview. Why is it that like, okay, ask yourself this, right? So in 2025, you hear Juiceburg, so it makes it look like everybody's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. Ask yourself this: why is it that President Nixon's talking about this? Why is Malcolm X talking about this? How come the person who wrote Martin Luther King's speeches happens to be a communist? You know who? So just ask yourself that throughout the decades, how come these like conversations always leads back to who's controlling us, right? So like, you know what I mean? Like ask yourself that. How come everybody else is talking about it? But yet when we do it, it looks crazy. But people have talked about this
Yeah.
throughout the decades. I mean,
Forever. This has been a conversation forever. But look, y'all, you have to say this at the end of your commentary on this subject because people don't understand what it means to be objective. I'm just simply asking for people to keep the same energy that they kept with BLM. Okay, because this is very reminiscent to that. To me, the conservative movement has essentially become BLM for the Jews.
yep,
BLM pointed out white supremacy around every corner. The GOP is pointing out anti-Semitism around every corner. Now we have to stand in solidarity with them, put the flag in our lapels, care about another country, have demonstrations, but the opposite side can't have a demonstration because apparently that's anti-American, even though they're both expressing their takes on something that's happening, not even inside of America, bro. At least BLM protested for shit that happened here.
yeah, so
At
true.
least it was home. But y'all are protesting for something outside of this country and ignoring the fact that a Jewish man opened fire on what he thought were two Palestinians in the United States of America, in Miami, Florida. And this is what you have the current governor talking about. The Tate brothers.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting that he said nothing about what happened with the guy who
Nothing.
shot at the two dudes that he thought were Palestinians. Like he didn't come out and say, "Hey, We don't want this violence. Because usually when violence happens like that, he's the first to come out and say, we don't want this violence, blah, blah, blah. Like when he came out and talked about the protesters who were protesting Israel,
Yeah.
he's like, he came out and spoke against
Yep.
that. But then this
Spoke out.
guy does his action in his state. Where is he at?
No, nothing.
Quiet as a
Silent.
mouse.
Where's Trump? Because like I said, we can flip it. We could do whataboutism. We could do whataboutism. Let's flip this. If this were a Palestinian that thought they saw two Israelis, this would be breaking news, and they will be talking about how anti-Semitism is on the rise. Legislation will be coming out left and right, the same way they do with gun control, left and right. But these people, mum's the fucking word, and then you wonder why their country looks at us the way they do. Look, you can't deny this anymore. Calling us anti-Semitic doesn't work, bro. That is like calling me a white supremacist. I'm going to laugh in your face. You're calling me this because you don't want me asking questions. The Socratic method. That's all I'm going to do for the rest of this year. Forget debating people and having points. Can you answer this question? Because if not, then there is no point in us having this conversation going forward. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta just get straight to the point. That's what it comes down to, just getting straight to the point. Yeah, it's fun sometimes to maybe debate these people, but we gotta get to the point, because if we don't start telling the truth, then and we just stick to the surface. That's why I mentioned a while ago. You heard me say this even years ago. We always talk about surface level things, but once you start digging deeper, it's like that's when like the no-nos come out, and so you can't talk about that. It's like, oh, you're just saying that because you just don't like them. It's like, dude, come on, dude. This is the truth. Like you talk about a country that's our greatest ally. If they're our greatest ally and they're like, all these good things, why did they sign legislation in 2018 where only Jews can live in Israel? Like, think about that. How come they get to have legislation where only Jews get to live in Israel, but we have to accept the refugees, which happened in the 1960s with the Hart-Celler Act? And think about who was involved in the Hart-Celler Act. We have to accept this melting pot, but they get to say we don't want a melting pot.
Yep, they get to remain homogenous. And even though we're not a homogenous nation, we are the world's hegemonic power. And what makes us that way is the fact that this is a country based on liberty and freedom and upward mobility. We are the most powerful country on the face of the earth. Yet we're beholden to a little slither of land over in the Middle East. Did you see, before we go, did you see the hostages that were released?
No, I heard about the family that starts with the B, but I didn't get a chance to like look into the process.
That's even better. That's even better because now I get to get a raw reaction from someone. Just watch this. Watch this. Now, this was posted to X. The video is about 2 minutes long. That's the first half of it. The second half is showing all these aerial drone shots of them going to the exchange point. They get out. These women are smiling the entire time. What T groups hands over freaking goodie bags? You ever seen the hostages released by Israel, the IDF? Look at pictures of them and look at the pictures of the people being released by Hamas. Now, this is in no way me showing sympathy towards them. But if we're talking about people who are doing egregious things, these hostages don't even look like they've been through hell. The one hostage that we got to hear from said that Hamas took care of her, the old lady. They might not have got the food that they wanted, but they got medical treatment. They ate. They had a roof over their head. But you look at the people that are being released by the IDF and they look like they done seen some shit.
Yeah,
just take
there's
that
actually
into consideration.
there was an article. It's pretty recent. I don't think it's that long ago, where IDF soldiers were actually harassing Palestinian detainees, and these things happen too, and no one talks about that. And then when you do look at situations like you just showed the video, Israelis being released, they seem like, again, got nice clothes on, hair is all done. They're not looking like the eyes aren't big, they're not shaking, they're not crying or anything like that. They're very calm, relaxed, and it might be nerve wracking to kind of just be in it, right? But doesn't seem like there's no scars on them and nothing like that. They're not, you know, it, I don't know. It doesn't seem like much has happened. But there was the story about I forget the family's name, but it starts with a B, and supposedly uh, Hamas took out the family. They took out the mother and the or mother and the kids or something like that, right? Like they pretty much hurt kids with their bare hands, right? That was the story I saw. But what Hamas was saying was that they were actually killed by Israeli strikes, but that's both are not really confirmed. But it's like at this point, who do we believe? And it's like we've had stories about Hamas doing one thing and it turned out to be not true.
Yep.
So the thing about it is what just irks me is that the right is so quick to say, look at what Hamas is doing. But then the moment that, and this is why I get what you're saying when they're like the BLM, because uh white person kills black person, like white cop kills black person, everybody's speaking out, and we need these type of legislation. But then whenever you see a black person do something to a white person, it's quiet as a mouse. And so when a Palestinian does something to an Israeli, every conservative and Republican is talking about anti-Semitism, putting forth legislation. Then you get a situation like Miami, and the same people who are like so vocal about it say absolutely nothing. Like their tweets are not even like acknowledged. They're just like, "Oh, look what I baked today." It's like you realize that something just happened with your people. Like, aren't these your people? Like black people always say, "My people." Aren't these your people?
Yeah, man.
So
It's
and you're quiet about this. So it's like you don't care when, and some people think it's justified. They think it's justified if like a Jew does something to a
they
Palestinian. They think it's
do.
justified.
Dude, our politicians today say that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian. There's
Yeah.
video. I just showed a video of IDF soldiers pushing a Palestinian off of a roof, and he's already gone, bro. Like,
Mhm.
how disrespectful can you be? Look at this video. I'll do the DOD live tomorrow. This live took a turn. I I just want people to see what you're supporting. Yes, I'm saying that because if you turn a blind eye to this and well, we must worship Israel. No, no. Look at what they're doing to this. That's a dead man, bro. And they kicking him off the roof like he's trash. Imagine if an American soldier got caught doing something like that. Can you imagine?
Or if it was Hamas doing that to an
Or if
Israeli.
it was Hamas.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, this all goes back to, I mean, like I said, they're paid the same way that Parker, Dean, the Krasteen brothers, one even follows me now, which is pretty crazy.
That's funny.
Brian, Krasteen, whatever I say his last name, he follows me. I'm like, that's bizarre, but they're all the same way. They're all paid to push an agenda, and the same thing with the right. The James Lindsay, the Charlie Kirk, the Brandon Tatums, DC Drano, Libs of TikTok.
Yep.
They're all paid. And you know what's funny is that I'll actually give credit to Savannah Hernandez because she was invited to the White House. I don't know if you saw her tweets, but she
No.
was also invited to the White House to get that binder. But she was the one who was like, "Yeah, I was invited and I just didn't go." Because even she knew that like she did not like the rollout as well. And if you notice that a lot of us were saying we didn't like it, but DC Drano, Liz Wheeler, they're like, listen, what happened was we were just there for something else. It's like, okay, I get that, but why aren't you saying that the rollout was bad too?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it look like you knew the talking points you were given.
Yep.
Because why are we complaining about it, but you're not? You're just like,
Yeah.
listen, guys, we was just there for something else.
Calm down. We ain't got nothing to do with it.
And it's like, so why aren't you complaining about the rollout? But
Right. Why
instead,
aren't
you
you
guys,
saying, why don't you go in there and say, hey, we need to release this to the public? We're here. Like, you know what? I would have took the invitation. I'd have been like, Julius, Bryson, like, let's go and let's take the invitation, but let's make it a point to go in there with our phones on, record. Now let's get this to the public.
mm-hmm,
That, at least that's me. I'm gonna go in there with some intention. I'm not gonna go in there. I don't know, man. To me, it's kind of like my mom and dad would tell me as a kid. You need to act like you've been here before. Does Trump walk in the room and just sit there docile and say, "I'm going to give whatever documents you give me. I'm going to take them and I'm going to go outside and pose for photo ops and say, oh, look at me." Or are you going to go in there and get answers? Because to me, they just showed their hand.
yeah,
You're not going in there to get answers. You're not going in there to disseminate information to the public. You're going in there because you want to maintain your status on social media and keep them ad dollars rolling in. Go to a political event every 2 to 4 years, show your face, get online, and make clickbait content.
yeah. It's the reason why I didn't like when press secretaries like, what's her name, Caroline something, uh, she was like, "Yeah, we're going to start having independent journalists, right? Rather than just the mainstream, we're going to actually bring in influencers to be a part of the press conference."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself after seeing what happened today, I'm like, do they really want to get actual independent journalists, or do they want to just bring on who they know is going to ask the talking points to make Trump look good?
That
You know
part.
what I mean?
That part. That's what it
Because if
is.
they ask a good question, Trump's like, "Hey, I like this guy. Hey, you're a very good guy. What's your name?" "Oh, that's a good question. Good guy, very good guy. You gotta bring him on more often." So that's what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get like the Anthony's, the anomalies, even the Nick for one test. You're not gonna
Yeah.
get those people. Even Ian Carroll,
Yeah.
just to extend that to him. You're not gonna get those people into the press conference because
That's
they're
true.
gonna ask questions that the no is gonna come out and say,
You know what? I signed up for that press
Mm,
badge that you can get to go into the White House. I still haven't heard back. Now, of course,
yeah.
there's probably millions of journalists trying to do this, but I guarantee you, it's the same people that go in there for the next 4 years that'll be in there. I mean, it's going to be the same journalists that go in there for the next 4 years,
Yeah.
and they might have some people like us in there towards the back, but they're not going to answer our questions.
Yeah.
Please.
The best they'll do is right side broadcasting, because right side broadcasting, God bless him. I met the guy Glenn in person, which is funny his relationship with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I digress. But yeah, right side broadcasting, they're pretty decent, but they're, no offense to them, God bless them, but some of them are shills. And they're only going to ask the question to make Trump look good because they want to, pretend like they're asking the questions that mainstream isn't, but it's just
Yeah.
to make Trump look good. Trump, what do you think about the fact that you really did some good work, like kind of like those kind of questions, not
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Trump, why is it that you claim DEI, but then you had this at your wife?" Like they won't ask questions like that. They'll just, again, they'll make them look good. And that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
So they would never bring on like a you anomaly or Anthony or Nick Fuentes or anybody of that caliber. They would never do it because they know that they will ask real questions
Yep.
that will break the narrative, and that to be forced to answer those questions. And they probably won't have them because it's a no. And you know that the donors watching back like, better not
Hey
answer
man,
that
you better
question.
not answer that. Exactly. Well, y'all, this was fun. I needed uh a motivator to come live because I have not felt motivated to get on here and do a organized show like I normally do. Come on here, break my topics down, give people a perspective and get off. I really just haven't felt inspired or compelled to do it. And it's because you're often met with such rejection when you do come on here and give a truly objective perspective on politics. Most people just don't want to hear it. They don't. And it's depressing. So for the month of February, you know what I did? Is I just sat on TikTok and I dunked on slow black people all day that identify with being black before anything else. That's what I did for the month of February. And you know what? That was far more that felt like I accomplished something with my day versus getting on here and talking to psychopaths that are on my side. Like that is so disheartening. We're supposed to be in this together. It shouldn't be pockets of us willing to tell the truth. And everybody else maintains their social media platforms while people like us are constantly losing ours, getting shadow banned. And none of y'all reach down to say, "Hey, let me share one of your videos." Or, "Yo, did y'all see what Julius is talking about? Go check out his content. He's telling the truth." Like none of y'all. Y'all are too afraid to share somebody that has something objective to say about Israel. And I'll leave it there. And you guys have been watching for this hour and 30 minutes. You can go research any of the points that we made tonight and prove us wrong.
Yeah. I think what I would say is Sunny's right, by the way. I just want to say that yeah, if you are curious, again, I'm still learning a lot. I don't know everything, but I
Absolutely.
definitely do look up a lot of the stuff that I save in my phone to go, wow, this is really good information. And so I will be breaking content to talk about these things. But the best thing you can do is just follow like who's doing what. Just follow the money. And when you do the research, it's important. Yeah, you can look at like ABC News, things like that. But if you pay attention in those articles, sometimes they'll have things that link to other things. Look at those too. And sometimes just like if you like, for example, if you say like how the feminism gets started or like what how the immigration gets started, look into that. There's so much more information than like DC Drano, and you'll find it. You just have to take the time to look. I mean, just take an hour out of your day, look something up. You can actually find it in a couple of seconds, but it's going to take you a minute to read it. But yeah, just do the research, find this out. And the thing is, if you are going to tell this information, you don't want to go on a juiceberg. Be accurate, be honest,
Yep.
and be respectful about it, and just educate people. Don't just go out there and it's like it's you know who. It might be fun to do, but to some degree. But you want to be accurate because our country is influenced. We really are. You know, a wise man once said, "We're one nation under occupation," and we are.
Hmm.
We're heavily influenced. Look at Congress alone. Look at who's majority in that. Right? How's the diversity if there's majority of a certain ethnic group? So it happens all the time. So just take the time out, do the research, look into it. If you do talk about it, even amongst your family and friends, just be accurate in what you're saying. Don't just say it's so and so because I heard it
Yeah.
from Suni, I heard it from Julius. No, read it for yourself,
Read it.
comprehend it, understand it. So when you have these conversations, you can say the reason why we're in this situation locally and nationally because there is a heavy influence. So
Yep. Be able to answer these questions yourself. Thank you for coming on. This was actually I was actually proud of myself. I did the first leg and I didn't need any like buffers, which was weird. If I didn't get stopped by family life, I think it would have been a smooth show. But what I'm going to do, and if you're okay with this, is I want to throw this live into one of my AI editors, and it will produce a bunch of clips for us, and I can tag you in it. We can, I guess, make you a contributor on one of the videos, and put this information out if you're okay, because a lot of people are like, I don't know if I want my clips out there.
no, I'm fine with it. I At this point, listen, I just gained almost 4,000 followers off of the Morgan Freeman video that I posted with the Black History Month. That has like 6.3 million views right now.
Yeah.
And I gained over 4,000 followers because of it. So I decided I'm gonna give people the news, give them the news what matters. But if I do see something like it is a juice bird, I'm gonna make sure I'm very, very accurate in what I'm saying to give names, dates, how
Yep.
it affects legislation, all of that. Just being like, look at this headline. Don't you know it's the Jews? Like when if I start doing that, I'm not gonna look good. I'm gonna look like Alex Jones. You know what I mean? So not saying Alex Jones is like that, but you know how he gets a
Yeah.
little bit like
He goes
animated
crazy.
and whatnot. Yeah. So I don't want to be like that. I just want to be like accurate in what I'm talking about. So that way you're not saying I'm blaming certain people. I'm just saying, look at who's involved. It's just like Martin Luther King. Look at who wrote his speeches and who helped him out. Stanley Levison. Just that alone should tell you how influenced Martin Luther King was, how influential the civil rights movement was, because there were people who were communists within his movement. Like that information alone should make you go, "Whoa!"
And
Martin
you know
Luther
what
King
I
was founded by
said
communists.
before we go? I brought that same thing up, like the second day. No, the day after Trump hosted that Black History Month event. I watched it and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna shut up. Because if I come out and say something, people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you always got a problem with." And then I went back and I read all the people that he said he wanted to give a statue to, and I said, we have too many Black conservatives there that were in the film Uncle Tom, that talked about all the Black leaders that we had never heard of before. Why are y'all not up there telling him we don't need another statue of Martin Luther King? We don't need a statue of Kobe Bryant. This drunkard that you got up there that decided to cheat on his wife, he doesn't need a Medal of Honor. Okay? Where's Thomas Sowell? Where's Walter Williams and his statue? Why isn't Shelby Steele on the stage? Glenn Lowry? All these people that have absolutely contributed to informing the Black conservative mind. Where are their fucking statues? Why are we still talking about Martin Luther King being the face of Black history? Yeah. His contribution, nobody can take that away from him. I Have a Dream, judging people based on the content of the character and not the color of their skin. That's something that we should continue to talk about. But also tell people the truth. He was a raging freaking communist.
And he didn't even write that speech, I Have a Dream. And you can find it on YouTube, the guy who wrote it for him.
Come on.
So did Martin Luther King really believe that we shouldn't judge, or that just somebody else's words that he just repeated?
Hey, you know, Rosa Parks wasn't the first person to sit her Black ass on the front of the bus, right?
Yep.
I mean, light skin, Black ass.
She looked good for the cameras, but it wasn't, the real person it was out of wedlock woman.
Pregnant. A whole teen mom.
And then like the no-nos came out and was like, listen, we like you, but we got somebody else in line. Look, we love you,
right. Okay, man. Well, thanks for coming on, Julius.
Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm gonna come back and do lives like this. Listen, I really don't have anything positive to say, and I'm sorry, but I don't. I'm going to come on here and be authentically Sunni. I'm going to bring you the content that you guys are used to hearing, and hopefully we can go forth and wake up some people. Thank you to all the people who just showed up. If you just showed up, please go back and watch this live from the beginning. I talked about a few different things. I'm going to get into the whole Elon Musk and the whole baby mama situation because I got a problem with that. All right? Y'all made fun of Nick Cannon, called him all sorts of degenerates and told him he was breaking homes. But then when Elon Musk does it, he's creating genius children? Absolutely not. We're going to get into it. And I'm also going to talk about the DOD. Don't worry. I'm going to go down and read all this. Shout out to Marlandon. Shout out to Judy. Some names I haven't seen in a minute. We got Jackson in the building. We got Auntie Red. Thank you guys for being here. I think this is my uncle. If this is my uncle, shout out to Uncle Rodney. You go back and watch the show. Hopefully you'll like what I have to say on here. But I love what I do. Julius, I know you love what you do. This doesn't feel like work for me. This feels like I'm coming on here and doing something that comes natural, which is talking in front of the camera, in front of my mic, and sometimes bearing my soul. The truth needs to come out, and the truth shall set you free. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Be looking out for some content that I'm going to be dropping. I'm coming out against everybody. I don't think people understand what 2025 Sunni has in store. It's about to be fun. Super fun. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, you guys can follow me on all over social media today with Julius, TODAYWITHJULIUS on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the whole nine. So just type in that name. You'll find me everywhere. Sunni, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Thank you, man. I'll catch y'all.
It's only reacts, breaking it down. No left, no right, just truth all around. It's not about parties, no red, no blue. She's calling it out, bringing facts to you. So tune in and see